Good afternoon. How are you all? Good? Today we thought this afternoon we would do a few activities. The first one is going to talk about the timeline of life on Earth. You have seen a couple of videos and heard a little bit about how long this planet has been here and when different things came to be on Earth. So we have 15 things that have occurred on this Earth. We'd like you to get into groups of, I think, about 4 and see how you think the order of these should be. Which was first, which was second, which was third, all the way to there's 15 things. We understand we didn't give you complete information, at 1.2 million years this happened, but see if you can make some sense of an order. So I think we have 12 stacks, is that right? So we'll divide these 12 and you group yourself into, I think, about 3 or 4 people, and just put them in order, top to bottom. So oldest to most recent event. So maybe these 4 get a stack?
Okay, one group chikla chik. Ruga la misum shinyam do shim ruga chik suru chesra. She's
Oh, that's good. And try to decide what the right order is in time.
Ta tuzu ichani thambo khandi chungri niwa khandi chiru phangrim dige jora on the digro chis.
And we understand this is, we didn't give you a lot of information yet about this. I saw a few things that they said debate in the slide presentation. Maybe tonight we can look it over. But I think it would be good. Have enough? Thank you. All right, for each group, could you please hold up the card that you think is your oldest card, that happened the longest ago?
Hold it
up so. Let's see what Megan thought. Pretty good. So the oldest thing, the Earth was here before there was oxygen. Okay, oxygen will come later. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Let's see Megan's. Next thing. The guys in the back. Let's see next thing.
세소 통마 디레샤스라.
Next oldest thing. What's next one? Oh.
네, 세소기
So
왕고 통마 레디
these life
숨바르.
forms, these very first life forms, are what made oxygen, and that's what shielded us and allowed things to come up closer to the surface. So these life forms had to precede oxygen. They contributed to the oxygen in the atmosphere.
가이스나 단다 깽외 딘수도아 단다 세소 딘수기 깽게 아니 단다 코란수기 솔룽 딘수 야땅 아니 가주 세 콜라 솔룽 차 딜라두 솔룽기 콩라 코란수 차기 레스.
So having said that, what's next? I just said they gave rise to oxygen.
ता 디기 젤라 खरी रेस.
Oxygen. Next, is that right?
디 젤라 솔룽 디로 시바 디로 디.
Next, what's next?
아니 솔룽기 젤라 खरी रेस.
Here we go.
닝데 소자 당보 디레샤스라 디 젤라.
Eukaryote is a single-celled organism. It has a nucleus, though. Its DNA is in a separate compartment.
ता 단다 디 케란수 खर्चा देलन 닝데 소자 런티도 디 खरलना 단다 타봉 깡데 레스 안 코란수 낭로라 디 테닝 디요 레스.
What's next thing?
디 제디 खरी रेस.
Oh, everyone's getting this right.
디 트릭샤스 상메.
So after the animals, then what's going to come next?
ता dumba dira ani semje jela dumba di thukba di khandi res
Next thing.
di je di khari res
This one's confusing.
zishing thongma di reshasra.
So plants have to go onto land before animals will go onto land. So plants are going onto land.
Sai ngola dwe jora di thangbo zishing de zuto res di jela ani semje de zuto res
All right, next thing.
di jela
Hey, good. And after that,
di socha di jela
this is the one we didn't talk about. There was this big extinction. There was something happened on the planet that obliterated most of life.
ta zadong chimbula di kor ngazu ngola sheyo mares zadong chimbula di anda sai kolega la chungwa ji chune ni semje mangcha zadong chi res di gap
We did not touch on that in the videos.
ani thanda longye dinala di kor sheyo mares
What's the next thing?
di jela khari res
Next thing is mammals. Mammals had to be, before dinosaurs, because when the dinosaurs went extinct, mammals took over. So mammals were next.
di jela ani thanda nusu semje chue jora di chai res
Next thing.
di nusu semje jela khari chagi res
Here we go. Next, we're running out of things, so we should have a better chance of being right.
ta di jela khari ista thanda nyunyuj masla emra da dige gi reo che res khashish masla amdus
That's good. Megan? Dinosaurs.
tungru sadong dre di res ro thanda di
Next, most recent thing.
ta di sarshe ro di chagi ras dinal khandi res
Himalayans. Himalayan mountains came next.
himalaya review pharwalan chik do di res di jela
There's only 2 things left.
ta ni masla mundus 3 left there
Okay, there's a blank.
okay the blank one
What's next?
ta di jela khari res
First humans. Because there was evidence, obviously, humans were hunting mammoths.
Guys na panda yores migi thanda anju nusu simche lab di chigyo ngungyo. Rida
And
ge.
last thing,
Thama di khari res.
there. Yes. Right, yes. So we hung a string. We hung a string on the back wall.
Tang anju thanda chikba gyap jido. Delan kuba chita she res.
The left hand is where the earth began.
Lagba yume cho jido. Del khari lana say khole chaw thoma chaw jura
The
di
right
ke res.
hand is right now, today.
Ye cho jido. Di khari chungur lana tharing thanda chungu res sai khole thande ne dan.
All right, Megan, how do you want to do this? If we say the earth is over there, where should she put the oceans and the first thing that we have, oceans and continents? She's standing right there. Should she move to the left, right, or the middle? If that whole string is all of time.
Ta thanda LinkedIn da gyazo thoma di chayo ras di jela. Ta thanda Megan mora khran khol ya shangores. Ye cho dogore ye cho dogore sa. Khol ye chola. Towards right? Okay, towards left.
She's running out. That's the earth there. So can everyone see? It's about a
Dinin si de sa thangma. Thangbo di say khola di chara. Niba di ani LinkedIn da gyazo thoma di ras.
So what's the next thing?
Di jela khari chayo res. First life form.
So where should she stand compared to her?
Seso thoma la ra. Di khol sha res ta. Pa dogore, ye dogore, ye dogore. Tizo di tingu ra di. Kho dogore. Khola. Dinin. Okay, to the left. Dela resa.
That's where it is. So there's almost a meter out of that 4.5 meters where there's no life.
Dila du gola dida dini parala seso khegu ji chungyo maras. Se khola chani seso thangbo di ras.
Where should she put oxygen?
Ani cholong di kho sha gu res. Ha jela ro ta gela Megan khona de ya shang do. Dini ye cho dogre ye cho dogre. Ye chola. Towards left. Khola da. There. Yes. There re. Hande still like to the left. Khola. 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 De digre. No khola. Pege da nye gore tha ringa gor. So it should be closer to the first life form.
It actually took this long from when life started to when life figured out how to use the energy of the sun and start producing oxygen. It took a long time.
Thanda cheso thangbo shto. Cheso wangbo thangbo lai. Dene ne chin thanda cholong dube jora. Dini para tujo digas kores, tujo juringbu gore res. Cholong thangbo dube la. They're saying no, it has not taken such a long time.
It does
So
take a very
now
long time.
we have some life, we have some oxygen. When do we get the first cell that has a nucleus and a membrane around the chromosomes?
Ta ta nang zo cheso gi wangbo thangbo di che thya na shi cholong di chung ras di gi jela ta ngo zo ningde socha ri jua den zo la du tening yo che tening la ki mo itum sha jo den de socha di khol sha gu res
First eukaryote. Where should Megan put that?
ningde socha jura kengwe di khol sha gu res khola still de la yes
Okay, you want to know where it goes?
de resa no they are saying some say no Patha da shower resa call go res tuze icha ni ke shower ra thangbo de
Okay, so
de re de shower re
we see eukaryotes about 1.8 billion years ago.
So half our string is gone, or more than half, and we are just to a single eukaryotic cell.
dilla du ta ngzu kuba dil ta wan kuba chagas le dos Di chamle dugal an nganzugi ningde kengwe thangbo di chungyo roas.
All right, so now we have the first animals.
Ta nganzu simjen thangbo di chagyo roas di jela.
Where on the string?
Andi kuba gala shagugu na khawal shagugu res.
You think here?
Di resa. Yes.
Okay, I'll show you where the animals go.
Dela gu resa simje thangbo de.
Here's the end of the string where we are today. Here's where animals started.
Dila du thanda simje thangbo di delli yo res. Tha jido kuba ine di ye cho jido di khari chungor lana thande thuju di chungyo res.
First plants on land.
Ani di gi jela khari lir lana sadeng an chishing thangbo di
We're
chagyo
just going to
res.
squinch them all in there. Animals go to land.
Ani simje denzo sadeng la do res lani simje thangbo denzo.
This big extinction where we were almost all wiped out.
Di jela chadong chimbu di chagyo res. Di gapsa ani simje mangbu chadong chimba res.
So that whole timeline is the history of the earth. Everything we think of that's long ago is in that little bit of time.
Dila do ngarazo i chunga mangbu chita thanda di thuju thendu di nangla chudio res.
Mammals? Which one are you up to there, Megan? This is mammals.
An di jela nusu simje thangbo di che.
Atlantic Ocean.
Di jela Atlantic gaso khache balaj da di che.
All the dinosaurs are gone.
Di jela ani tumruk chadong chimba di res. Ani draw mi thangbo di che thoma di.
So the human is just a blink of an eye.
Di la do nganzo mi inde chuma nang chita di mi di chungwa la tawa na de la khigi res.
So that's how one thing compared to another came onto earth.
Di la do thanda khirang su na lo ngobo mangbu ste ras. Ta di thangsho khandi chungwe me chigi jel chi khandi chungwe me chungdang di te res.
Look how many changes just in a small time. You can only imagine what's in the future for this planet.
Dila du thuju thundu dende chi gala ngara zo sai gola na gyo mangbu sto dos an dila du gola jela ani thanda chungya khari maung ba khari chungyo me she thung mara sai gola diga
Any questions here?
ani thiwa yo es digala dini bara tongba shu do khar chin res. There's a question from him, so we can see that there's a long distance gap between this first eukaryote and the first animal. Why is it so?
Good question.
Thiwa di yabu dos.
So the question is, why is there such a large gap between the first eukaryotic cell and the first animal?
Ta di thiwa di khars lana di para tongba chumbu ji chagi dos thanda ningde kengwe thangbo di da ningde thabung thangbo di da ani soja thangbo lan yora dini para tongba chumbu di khari chin res lan thiwa tang songs.
Some steps in evolution are very difficult and take a long time.
Ta kabre phelgyu drela khakbu che en dhana shi thuju yuring bu shu gorgyu res.
Going from a single cell that's just looking out for itself to going to a multicellular organism is a difficult step in evolution.
Dila du rimba rodang jora khashi khakbu shu yor la du thanda cha sha na thabung kyangde rig juda dinde yimba na mangde chayala en thanda phelgyu drela di khurim jora rimba di khakbu shu cha de res.
You need to get a lot more DNA in order to have those cells stay together and interact as one.
Dila du da thabung mangde lan thabung mangbu ke shi yora chigla manga dila du quran so pen nanglo la DNA de zo penju dewa chini ani thabung chasan chik nang shi lega che dinde sugu yoras.
And for evolution to happen, there has to be an advantage to that. So those cells that stuck together as one organism needed to have an advantage of better surviving than the cells that were by themselves.
Dila du da thabung chang kyangde imbale thabung mangden del keben che res sangmanyam durgu chini chik nang shi dewa na chune che da dinde la keben kyangde le ani mangden la keben che res.
So you need the right environmental conditions to get that evolutionary step to happen, because you need the right conditions where that clump of cells will be better able to survive than a single cell.
Dila du thanda thabung kyangde ni mangden chaya gi da phelgyur gi rumba jora di khakbu che en thana shi thujuring bu shu gorgu res dila ni thanda nedang jora takta 구구요레 창구구요레 내당 따다 창구요나 아니 신이 별규 줘야줘라 경대니 망대 디치도구요 차기요레스.
But there's a scientist at Georgia Tech who studies exactly this problem in evolution. He studies how we can get cells to go from being a single cell to acting as multicellular organism.
딜로두다 조르지아 텍 라이 게긴 조르스 코란시 타 코란기 카리시얼라나 타봉 짱데니 타봉 망데나 카데스 두구 메저라 도다니 코란기 디치어레스.
It's very new, very exciting research, so we still don't have a lot of the answers yet.
딜라두 코란기 탄다 따제 체데두갈라다 빵다 망부 슈지다 라이 마레시네 따제 디도데레스.
So we're going to do our own research. I want to know how long 5 of these tiles are in measurement. See these squares that are making our floor? I wonder how long 5 of them are.
ता ठुवा खरशलाना दि दो टुपशी चिक चिक दो तिनटे nga ringse jora khaga sore di ani hakundu dus
So we'd like you to use a ruler, which is 12 inches.
ani ringse jela thana nga ju thiksing di pheju chi ros
Measure 5 of them in groups again and tell us how many inches are 5 of these tiles.
ta thanda cheze tai ro di chikshi inch yo inch na taro ches ani dinde do nga la ani ringse khagas chagi du siro ches inch na la
12, and then you'll go 12 again and 12 again. Adding, is that possible? Is that okay? And
ande
we'll get
chetu
5.
ro sa thanda dinga yo ra do nga thiksing chi gi da chungni chai ro andi yangyo jela shana chungi gal chungi ni sab shi inde shin domni do nga chi tu ros yes
Okay?
yes
Okay.
Scientists are always looking for the truth, but sometimes it is very difficult for scientists to find the truth. It can be hard to measure.
ता छेरी बल्ला दुगल खोरान जो खदिना देम्बा छ्वे दिङे देन्डे जी छा दियोरेस इने कब्रे खरियो लना दि छ्वे दि खाकु छायोरेस.
So we want to see something that should be very easy. These 5 tiles here, you should be able to tell me, or we're there, how long they are. But let's see how easy that is.
ता दि दो इम्बो एना लेलो छायोरेस ता दो दि दोंगा दि रिङसे छेलाना सुसु छे या थु रस देन्डे रो छा शावना लेलो छा दियोरेस.
Same thing as a group, maybe couple of fellows move the ruler and the other one keep track of how many inches it's becoming.
लेदा रुगा ना लेगा छिदु गला चिगी रुगा दि थिक्सिन दि जुनि छे यारो छेस अन चिगी ठिरो छेस ता खजु छाइ मे जरा चुंगी खजु छाइ मे दि छे दि ठिरो छेस.
And when your group agrees on an answer, write it up on the board.
अनि दोंगा ला रिङसे खगस छाइ मे इंच ना रो चिक्सी दि खजु छाइ मे दि कार्बंगल ठिसारो छेस सोसो ला खरि लेला न दि छिरो छेस सेन्टिमिटर छिना डिग्री या इंच ना छिना डिग्री सोसो देबा छेस.
Which is easier, but we should all do the same.
ale yine chik che de ra chik bat gugu res chik shi de a kheron ju centimeter che gai inch che gai inch is better.
Inches, okay, every group find a spot where you can get 5 tiles.
ta indo kheron ju su su sa ja damro ches ra donga de
When your group has a number, write it on the board.
kheron ju thangdo de chi ge dik chawa im bai na karbang la thiro ches khaju me de ring se de.
Okay, so something pretty simple that we can all see with our own eyes, and yet we don't all measure it the same. So why might we have come to different answers?
ta tab diu shu yo ras di ngara zo mi gi thoya yo chen che je che le lo cha yo ras ta dine nganzu gi di thangdo di dudu gala minda ra gi dos li di khande star res no answer is looks like there is some error yeah.
How might we reduce our error? How could we make a better measurement?
ta nindu shor shalara and nindu di ma cha we ma nyung ro tang gu na ngazo khande ser ge tang thu res di yangyo di yangyo che je so we can measure it again.
Yes, so repeat over and over and over. And then what would we do with all those numbers?
Dila do kyar ne kyar to chira. Di chido an thanga chtobu ras. Thangto de an denzul kharche res.
Which one would be the truth?
An khandi demba chagi res ta mangbu chira. Demba khandi res. Khandi mangadi. Majority will be the truth. The majority.
The most common answer.
Ta changme chiyon ro gi ta len chik chagi ro di ta khiran zo len demba res lagi ras.
In science, we often do something called take an average. Have you heard of that?
Tanga zo cheri na cha shaw na ngzo khar le la na chanyum lemba la ni chik chagi res chanyum le di konyong US average le di. Yes.
What's another way that we might be able to improve our answer?
Ta di len di yarge tang gu na ya tablam shimba khari res. Kachore. 도책네. So the one who measured this, who collected this data, we can come all together and discuss what should be the right method to measure this.
Have you seen ever a construction worker? They have sometimes better tools. They have a tape that can go any length, and you don't have to push up. You don't have to pick up and measure again and again. You can just have a better tool to make the measurement.
다 강과 중에 다 된데 코란수이 통소스 코란수이 가리르라나 락차지 단다디나 아주 택신 준주지기 지기 숨란 체제대로 된데 마임바 나나 링부시타니 된데 택신로 체제에 도와서 코란술라.
I really liked that. I really was see this. Some of you made the same technique of measuring just one tile and multiplying by 5.
계란속에 찍찍 야단디 야고 도스티 खाइलाना चिग्रांजिक ले अंदिंगा ल जुरदवास.
What assumptions did you make when you did that process?
계란속에 다 쳐바로 라오라 디 컨데스 체인스 디 규림 디 치에 갑소. 돈니. So first we measure two stones whether these two are of equal length or not.
So you assume each square is about the same.
딜라두다 계란주이 디 돈니 찍바 로지다 계란지 쳐바 샤르와스 세전.
So this is the same way science works. We do all the things you suggested to get to the most accurate measurements that we can.
딜라두 체리나라다 체제 조라 체제 강 차터 라오라다 따다 용에 딘디기 탑시 치요 레스 체리바이.
We do things from different perspectives, measuring one tile versus measuring 5 tiles.
딜라두다 셀렌다 민도 링그레스 카브레 카르치라나 탄다 도치클라 체젠 타그레스 카브레 동아자 셀렌 타유레스.
We repeat it over and over and over and see what number we get most frequently.
딜라두 딱체 태가랑 캬르니 캬르도 망부낭 치기요레스 딜라두 갈라 안 탕도 칸디 망아라우두 디 타기요레스.
And as we get better and better tools, we also measure again with the new instruments that we develop.
딜라두 타 추제 탄다 락자 딘수 야르게 루라스 야르게 드로 나시야 디 딱체 디양 캬르니 캬르도 양 체지기요레스.
So you might see in the news our timeline. This is how we understand it today, but things might shift a little bit as we continue to make our measurements.
딜라두갈 탄당 안주 따두갈라 차단 딘데 로지 셰라스 딜라두갈 야 체제 디야게 드로이나 탄당 안주 티시 창돌로 주어 드로시라스 디임바이나 야 디안티스 주어 두레스 탄다 딕당데.
That's why scientists continue to search for new fossils so that we can better understand the timeline and make sure it's accurate.
제자 아니 체리바이 탄다 규르도릭 주라 강망말레 탑시 체 다지시니 아니 덴조 아니 탄당 안주 뒤조가 셔요 디그나로 아니 샤야체 아니 디 림베디 딱다 강 딱달레 탑시 치요 레스 체리바 코란 종고니.
Do you think if we had you measure again with a better instrument that you would all come to the same answer?
탄다 락자 야가지게 아니 계란조 베주시니 안 정말 렌직레 딘데 치임베스 치구요레스 고르고 말해. Yeah, we need it.
Okay, let's give it a try as scientists. We have better instruments for you to measure so you don't have these little bitty rulers.
딜라두갈라 녜라 틱신 취주 베주치라스 다 락자 티 서게 당골라나 틱신 링아 디 베주신 데레스.
And again, when you come to your answer for how long 5 tiles are, write it up on the board.
Dila du tan di che jane ni kha thanda donga di ring se khaga sume ya dela thiro ches karban la.
Let's think of something to fill up tomorrow's time. Afternoon is going to be measuring height variation. Have them in pairs measure each other, and that's how you do it. You've got enough pairs to do
Or we can have tape up on the wall.
It's interesting to me that these numbers are very close, right? 116.5 is the smallest, and 118 is the biggest. Here, 111 is the smallest, and 117.5 is the biggest. But these are really close together, only maybe 1 or 2 apart, not even.
Di thangdo du yo di new shu chai dos angi din su ta wai na ta cheshu la na gyada chup ge chai dos an chungshu la na gyada chup din che nga chai dos new cha de ras an di do cha sha wai na chungshu di gyada chup chi chek chi chai dos an cheshu ta wai na gyada chup din che nga do chai dos dinal kheba shira min dos new cha di shas angi din su.
Do you feel like you trust this column or this column? Which one is closer to truth, do you think?
Ta del thangdo ni do du sha yo thangbo da ni wa ra di ni khandi kiran zo ije manga lesa res dila so they will take this data.
How do you think the differences came? How did this team get a different answer from, these are very close together, but let's say this team?
Ta del ruka ni do kuran zo ni ni len logo ra do asti khande ra res.
Or we could look at the two extremes. These two are the most different. What do you think contributed to that?
Yamena angi chesho da tosho de da ma sho ta wa na kuran ni kheba cha ra di ani kheba khande chung res. Se gyada madi wores sui madi wor la ta dini ne la sui nindri madi kare do la kheba dores. So there are differences in the size of the stone. Yeah, the
The
tiles.
squares might be different. You might all be perfect, but the squares aren't perfect.
Dila du gala ani thanda kiran su itse ge tagda gya yugre sine di tushi kha khama di chipo jikya yo marwas dil kheba dores.
There's also care. It's, you have to make sure you're not going crooked when you move the stick.
Anchi khadu yungur lana kheba di kiran su itse ge du thi khap tu gya gu res kabre thikshin di kyon ni gya wa ya thang tu lo ra res.
But in general, it seems like the longer stick gave an advantage for making the numbers more similar to each other.
Dila du chi kheben khari chungor lana ngajo thikshin ringa di pheju chi du gala an thang do den nya ali dos.
These fossils are still here if anyone wants to see them on the way, but otherwise we'll just see you tomorrow morning.
Ta thanda yurdo din khashish diga shash yos chogzegal kiran su singdo yo na sis me wa na ani shuge je yons.
And look at the timeline on your way out and appreciate how little time we've been here.
Dila do ani kiran su ma pe kon la thanda ngajo gi thuju ji se ra ru di thuju di timeline da di ani kiran su sini pero chis